bring a project in that is within that budget. With me is Jason Champion, who I think is very interested in this building. And Matt Boers has been working with us, is also here. So we did meet with staff, when did we meet? Was it last week?
Yes, sir.
I'm losing track of time here. And had some preliminary discussions. The planner from the regional planner came from Southern Maine Regional Planning. Pretty straightforward project, so I'll just, if it's all right, I'll just sort of take you through the whole thing and tell you what we're looking to do. So when you come into this is kind of the overall picture. The Waterboro parcel is very large around here. We're kind of interior to the site here. The existing gravel pit is down into here. The transfer station is right here where my cursor is. The sand and salt shed is in this location. The current Public Works building is this small square that's right here. And then kind of in between the sand and salt building and the current Public Works building is where the new building would go. So if you were standing out there looking up at the driveway that goes up, it's kind of in that gravel cleared area that's up there now. We have to go back a little bit just because of the size of the building. So one thing we'll end up having to do is there's a snowmobile trail that goes right through there. So we will be relocating the snowmobile. It's used pretty regularly, so that we're not gonna, we'll interfere with it a little bit, but we'll relocate it as part of the project to make sure that that stays where it is. So let's talk about, this is a grading plan for the site that shows it. We're basically, the finished floor of the building is going to be pretty much where the grade is up there right now. And then we'll have a paved apron, my cursor, a paved apron that'll tie into the paved apron in front of the sand and salt shed. And then it'll kind of come out around about 50 feet where you see here. It'll tie back into the apron in front of the existing Public Works building. And then it'll come over here and tie back into that area. So that will be in front of all the doors, the main doors in and out of the building. The current driveway is right here. We'll continue to use the current driveway. We're not proposing any changes to the driveway. Everything will look pretty much like it looks now, except there'll be a building up on top of the site. All these little circles and dots in the back is a drainage swale that will build on the backside. So the site is kind of going uphill a little bit, so we have to cut into it a little bit and blend into the hill. So I've got some water drainage that naturally comes down off the hill. Right now it just sort of comes down off the hill and down the site, but what we'll do is pick it up in a drainage swale in the back, take it around the building, which goes into a natural swale that already exists around the other side of the sand and salt shed, and that water will then go down into the gravel pit. So it's all internally drained. It just kind of works its way down to where it's always gone, and we'll pick it up through there. There'll be some propane tanks that we'll have to put in over here. There's no natural gas or anything like that on the site. So the propane tanks, this is going to be a very basic building. I'll show you the floor plan in a minute. But it'll be concrete foundation walls up 3 or 4 feet, pre-engineered metal building on top of it, large door, bay doors for vehicles to go in and out. You can drive through the building and out the other side and back. There'll be a small office area that will be over in this location here, and that'll be for staff area, crew area, bathrooms, all those other normal things that go into the building. Concrete floor throughout. There's a add-on that's a lean-to right here. The building's 100 feet by 120, so the base building's about 12,000 square feet. There's about a 20 by 100 foot sort of lean-to that comes over on this side for outdoor storage of equipment and materials. That will be on a concrete slab also. There's a wash bay that will be inside the building. One of the fundamental things that we try to put in Public Works buildings is a wash bay. They don't have anything now, and if you look at what they have to spend on a plow truck, I'm not going to have to ask you to tell how much a plow truck costs, but the equipment is expensive. So by being able to have the ability to clean it, take care to get the materials off, it makes it a lot easier. This building also provides some opportunity for some of the equipment to be inside instead of sitting outside. It's a lot easier on the equipment. Eventually, you know, I think you'll be doing more and more as the the plan is, I think, over time, public works staff will grow and that group will take care of more and more within the town. And it's always best to have equipment inside, especially if you eventually have plow trucks, things like that, inside the small excavators, whatever. If you can put them inside the building, keep them out of the weather, they tend to last much longer. Because we don't have public sewer and I have a wash bay, I cannot put the wash bay water into the septic system. That's excluded from the main, the subsurface wastewater rules. So what we do is we'll be coming out the back of the building, and that will go into an oil water separator, and then it'll go into a holding tank. The reason it goes through an oil water separator is you get the oil out of it, then we have to hire somebody like Clean Harbors periodically to come in and pump it, and then the white water that goes into the holding tank has the oil removed from it, and you can pump that, generally take that out to a wastewater treatment plant. And we've used this approach. The fire station that did in Wyndham didn't have sewer. We did the same thing. I have a public works building up in Orno. We did the same thing. It's a pretty standard approach. We'd love to have public sewer, but Sanford's a long ways away, so it wasn't within the budget. So we'll use the holding tank. It'll have, if all goes well, if we can, budget-wise, it works out. We'll try to put like a float and an alarm in there, so if the water gets up to a certain level, you'll have something that tells them it's getting to that level, and then they can call somebody and have it pumped. There will be a new septic system just for the employees. It comes out over on the administrative area, and it comes down to here. If you look at your plans, you might see that we originally had a sewer running out around the back side of the existing public works building. There's a very small sewer behind there. We were thinking maybe we'll come out that way and tie into it, but it was a long way. The grades weren't really working out well. Our soil scientist was on site just this week and dug some test pits over here next to the sand and salt shed, and as we all sort of already knew, it's all sand and deep well drained gravel, so it's fine for a septic system. It's pretty small. It's basically like a 2-bedroom size house because it's 10 to 12 employees at 20 gallons a day or per person, so that's only like 240 gallons. It's not a very big system, but it makes more sense to bring it out and put it in over here. It helps me a lot with the grade, so I can avoid pumps that might have to happen over here. We will also have a well over here in this location here. That will be installed. That well will provide water for domestic water, and it will provide water. There'll be a small, well, not small, it's about 500-gallon tank that will be a plastic tank inside the building. That will be a buffering tank for the wash water, because unless we were going to do something heroic with the well, we probably won't have enough water coming out of that well, so we've got to have a buffering tank for that. So we'll put a tank inside the building for that well. We did, and I'll explain why more here in a minute, we did sample, Jason went down and sampled the well that's down by the transfer station. There's a well down there at the transfer station. We wanted to know what the water quality was. Met drinking water standards, it's all fine. And the reason I bring that up is this site, you'll see a line on the plan that says 300 feet from, it's this line right here. Years ago, we got a VRAP for the site, and a voluntary response action program, and that was because there were old tannery lagoons on the site. Dennis knows the story way better than I do on that, but there was a tannery in town. We brought the fluid out and put it in that. And when we did the sand and salt shed years ago, not that many years ago, but a few years ago, where we wanted to put it was right where the little tannery lagoons were. So not a big deal, but we needed to go through the VRAP process. And it's basically what a VRAP does is you disclose that there were, because the tannery is full of different solvents and things that aren't really good for the environment, which stopped many, many years ago, but we really didn't find anything. Ransom Environmental was hired to do a study up here at Environmental, and it really didn't come up with anything that was, really horrible. So we were able to get a VRAP that allowed us to build the sand and salt shed there, but they did ask that we didn't put any wells, drinking water wells, within 300 feet of the building. I can tell you that this well is sort of up gradient from it. The well that's down by the transfer station is downhill from it. Now, generally, groundwater will be deep into the aquifer, but it'll follow the land contour. And the water quality was great down by the transfer station, which we were surprised at, honestly. Sure. But it was potable and it was fine, so we just wanted some background information. So we did do that. And we're outside the 300 feet for the well will go. Electrical coming into the site will be single-phase electrical. Our electrical engineers met Jason out there. We've looked at the electrical use. We don't have three-phase down there, a three-phase power. It's awfully expensive to bring three-phase in. We just don't have it within our budget. And honestly, this public works building, we're not doing anything that's huge power. There's no cranes that's going to be in the building. There will be some welding equipment maybe, but that will be able to run off a single phase unit. So we'll end up putting in down by this pole here. I'll move this up. So here's the road that comes in. There's an existing overhead service that comes to an overhead pole right across from the existing public works building. What we'll do is we've got to replace this line through here according to the electrical engineer. We have to put in a new transformer here, and we're going to put in a small building that will have the switch gear, the panels, and they call it automatic transfer switch for the generator that's going in. That'll all be in that building. And the generator will be right next door. The town has already procured the generator. They got a really good buy on a generator, so they've already bought that. So we have that in town. It's a 50 kW generator based on what the electrical engineer has analyzed for loads on the sand and salt building, the public works building, the existing and the proposed. It looks like that 50 kW should be fine for the entire building. So from there, we'll go underground. We're going to remove the overhead service to the public works building, and then we're going to go underground over to it. And we'll go underground to the new building. There's an existing underground service that goes over to the sand and salt shed. There's some lights and a ventilation fan in the sand and salt building. We'll use that line that's there now and the electrical conductor and basically put in a handhole. It's a junction box that will go in the ground and we'll tie into it. And that'll all run through the generator. So now all three buildings will be serviced off the generator if that happens. What else can I tell you? Oh, let's look at the building. So Graham Architects, we brought them in to develop some plans for the building. Jason has spent a fair amount of time with David Graham. And so this area here is basically the administration area. There's a couple of bathrooms. There's a little bump out here that will have some lockers available for them. There's a utility room, but we're going to change that around a little bit. We're going to have the shower come in through the utility. It's not really good. It's a utility room, but it's going to be you can lock the door if somebody wants to go in, single user shower, and then the bathrooms. Because what we were worried about was having a shower in the bathroom. It's a little awkward sure. And plus, we're only going to have one shower, and we'll have two bathrooms, so we wanted to have it as a single user, any gender shower. So we're changing that around a little bit on it to make that work. And then there's well, it says an office, but it's really administration in here in a vestibule that comes in. A foreman, some of these will be used for storage initially, but based on the projections on where the town's going, we're going to need that space at some point for a crew. And then there'll be a break room down through here, which is also ends up serving as a training room for safety training, things like that. If crews are on 24-hour storm watch, they have a place to come to sit down. There'll be basically a kitchenette in there for, I always call it crock pot alley, because if they're working, they come in and grab something to eat and move in and out. So there will be a training area in there. This area here will be heated and air conditioned. We'll just use an exterior commercial VRF, variable refrigerant flow heat pump, an outside heat pump that will service the crew area. That's all that works really efficiently, so that'll be, there's gonna be a workshop area, a storage area, there's a bath out here for the, in the work area. Sometimes it's nice not to have everybody trek through the sort of the finished area. It's very convenient. We always, whenever we don't put one out there, everybody says, how come we didn't put one out there? So we're putting one out there. There'll be an eye wash, there'll be a mechanic's office out here. We're gonna reconfigure that a little bit, right? And then there'll be a stair up to a second floor mezzanine that will just be storage up above the workshop, parts, things like that, that can go up above. And then there'll be 7 bays. The bays will have drive-through. One won't because I need the area for storage, but the building's 120 feet long, 100 feet wide, and this framing plan will change a little bit because what we're doing is we're going to run the pitch of the roof. Instead of the way this is drawn right now, it's as if the pitch of the roof goes out to the outside where the doors are. We're not doing that. We're going to go in a different direction so that we're trying not to put the pitch of the roof so it dumps the snow and ice out in front of the bay doors. I see some that do that, and it works just because of spans and the way, but we had a long conversation, and it looks like we can do it this way, which makes a little more sense. So it's, we don't have a lot of money, honestly. You know, well, it sounds like a lot what was approved, but I've spent a lot more money on buildings and stuff. So this building will be a pre-engineered metal building, foundation with a spread footing, a wall up, have metal panels on it. Sometimes we use these, what they call insulated metal panels, but we're not going to require that on that because I don't think we can afford to do that. So it could end up being like the vinyl batt insulation with a wall covering part way. And it's going to go out as a design build project, which means we give them the site and civil plans. We say this is what we want. We give them narratives on the building, what we want for, we'll give them these plans that shows the dimensions of the building, what we want in the buildings, and it's up to the design builder. They might package up a Varco Pruden building, or they might do a Butler building. There's different manufacturers, so we're going to let the competitiveness of that get us the best value for the building, and then hopefully it'll all fall within budget, and then we can award a contract to get a building built. If it goes well, we want to get the out the bid this coming summer, pick a contractor, get them going on it so that hopefully get concrete and things like that done. Getting the metal buildings hasn't been as bad as it was a few years ago. COVID just messed up everything, but it's not as bad as it was. There are some American metal building manufacturers, so we've had this conversation about if tariffs are going to hurt us or not. We're not, honestly, we're not entirely sure yet, but we don't have any specific, we're not using any federal funding, so I don't have to worry about the BABA, Buy American, Build American. I don't have to worry about Davis-Bacon wage rates or anything like that. This is all local funding. So honestly, when I have to use those federal requirements, it tends to elevate the cost of the project quite a bit. And it's a pain on my side to manage that. So we'll put it out that way. The building, the interior finishes are pretty basic. Like I said, concrete floor, concrete wall up because the bottom part of the wall always gets abused. Inside the office areas will be, I think we decided we're going to leave it as a concrete floor in there with a hardener on it, and then which is basically like a sealed concrete floor, easy to clean up. I did the same thing up in Orono. Works pretty well. People come in and out. And if someday you want to add flooring, you can always add it later on. The walls will all be basically gypsum wall board. We'll put some in the bathrooms. I think we're going to put FRP panels in the bathrooms. That's a little more resistant to abuse that happens. So, but we haven't completely finished out what the inside of the building, what those finishes are, but we're getting there. Exterior, the only lighting we're proposing to do is LED lighting on the building. On the outside, we aren't really proposing any pole lighting. If we can light the perimeter of the building, because the sand and salt shed already has lighting, the existing Public Works does. So we're going to just start there with the building lighting on it. If I add pole-mounted site lighting, that starts to get expensive too. We talk about budget a lot, don't we? So that is where we're headed. Tonight is really, we're not looking for a decision tonight. I need to update some plans, and I promise that I will give you full-size plans, not the little 11 by 17. Sorry, I should have handed out. Actually, I like that. I want to know where you got that, because I may want one of those. But we'll do full-size plans. I don't think Southern Maine Regional Planning, pretty benign, pretty straightforward.
The only thing that she had brought up that she emailed today, just as a reminder that we discussed and you had marked up, that on the next set of plans is the parking.
Okay.
Yes.
Designate the parking.
Right. We'll show where we'll probably put it over here along the office area here, but we'll just designate some dedicated parking. I'll put some paint striping down on it. We hadn't done that on it. Honestly, I originally wasn't. I'd been debating about whether to do or not, because most people park wherever they want anyway on a site like this. But the point was valid. If there's a visitor or public that comes to the site, and technically I need to designate a handicap parking space, so I do have to put it up there. So we'll probably put it right over here on the
front handicap, right?
Yeah, I think we talked maybe about right here where the front door was. So we'll put that, we'll add that to the plan. And we'll make those updates. I've already made a number of updates. I added the building and changed the electrical and the septic, because that all happened since we made the original submittal, but we'll put it all together in a final submittal that comes in. And that's the project. Jason, do you have anything to add, or?
No, not really. You covered most of it, unless you guys got questions for us.
Add anything from Dennis is going to just say bring it in on budget, right?
That's the goal.
See?
Good luck.
Yeah. So we'll do the best we can. I mean, we've talked a little bit. If we do have budget problems, I don't know what'll happen when, probably the low-hanging fruit is,
Yep.
Sorry, Jason, your overhang on the end would probably go away.
Would be the first to go.
That would likely, because the inside of the building, this is a very basic, pre-engineered metal building. We're not doing anything heroic on it. We'll probably write in the specification that they designed the roof of the building, but they're not going to install it. We can't afford it right now, but to design the building to support solar, if that ever happened later on the building. That's not a big lift. It generally is, it might add a few purlins or something like that to the top, but we generally will write in the spec that they have to accommodate future solar on it. And if that ever, comes to fruition and that we can get there, then we will offset some of the energy. So that's the project.
Cool. I'm good.
You got any questions?
No questions, you just move
Tried
forward.
to cover as much of it.
Yeah, no, it was very thorough, thank you.
That was good, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any questions at this point.
These two are just saying, hurry up, Owens.
Yeah.
I know. They want to get building on it, which we're making good progress.
It's
So-
tough to put
Yeah.
this long
The
overdue.
driveway that goes in, so when I go to transfer station, I go to the right of the fence.
Yep.
Yours is going to the left of the fence in and out, or are you using the same transfer
So
area?
you know where our entrance is, at the red gate.
At the red gate, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's,
All right, you'll
that's
stay
the
there.
same entrance
Okay.
that we'll use. So if you guys come up to the recycle compactor,
Mhm.
and you're looking up our driveway,
Yeah.
essentially, is when you get out of your cars, that's off to the right a little bit, but that's gonna be the main driveway that you see going up to the main building.
Here's the recycling compactor right here.
Yep, so when you're sitting there unloading, you can see that main entrance. But yes,
You'll look right up here.
the paved entrance that we have right now will be the driveway that public will use to come up to the building.
How many people are you, right now, how many people compared to what you think you're gonna have in 2 years?
Right now, how many do we have? Well, there's 4 with me.
Right, in 2 years.
I would say at least 2 more.
Maybe 2 to 3 more.
Yep.
And it all depends on what the town decides to do with the plow.
You know,
Right.
and-
So you're gonna have, your goal, I think, down the road is to be
That you plow.
self-sufficient, right?
Yep,
I mean, you're talking 6 or 8 trucks probably,
yep,
I would think.
yep.
So that building will,
It's,
long-term, hopefully will be self-sufficient and will be full.
Yep.
You'll have a crew and your own trucks, and- which I think is long overdue. I think. So,
If you were to do that, does that modify this plan at all? Meaning, like, would you need a place for people to sleep and things like that if you were to take that on, or?
Most,
I mean, I used to work at Standish, and we had I think they're trying to do a building now. I don't know if they'll put sleeping quarters in it or not, but when you work 20-hour storms, if it's in the middle of the night, Dwayne can attest, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning,
You go home.
you go find a spot to take a nap.
Sure.
If it's gonna continue very heavily,
Yeah,
most of the time, they can either come in the break room,
Yep.
and, we'll probably have a couch in there, a recliner. Maybe, if we get some cots if they
Cots,
want.
yeah. Okay.
But 9 times out of 10, the guys just sleep in the trucks,
gotcha.
which,
Okay.
is not
And you
very
think the
comfortable,
one
but.
shower is gonna be enough? I'm not trying to spend
I-
my money,
no.
but look at what happened at the fire barn.
I do.
I was gonna say, in a public works garage, the only reason you're gonna ever use that shower is if you get into a real mess.
Like a
Chemicals
chemical spill or,
And chances
But-
are that shower may be used
it-
with the dump attendants or public work,
but not to say that if we're working a 20-hour storm and, it runs into the next, you have to come in at 10 and it runs into the next day. If a guy wants to come in and take a quick shower just to wake up, I mean,
So
if we're working a
you think it's
20-hour storm, I'll
sufficient
make
for-
time for everyone to, if
Okay.
that's what they want to do,
if it helps, like when I did Orno, which is, it's about 14 people on their crew. They have a men's and women's, one shower in each one of them. And it's funny, the only shower that ever got used, at least when I was working on it, was one of the town employees came down and ran at noontime.
Oh.
Shower at noontime. I mean, we put them in,
Yeah.
but
we have a shower now
Right,
in our building. We never use it.
okay, good.
So we run it just to run it, but, like Dwayne said, if someone gets,
I worked out a
Some type of
couple
chemical.
dozen state garages. All the newer ones have got a shower.
Never use it.
The only
it's
reason,
there.
I mean, you could go
I think
off
one
a-
is going to be
a cold
sufficient.
job, but
Thank you.
it's
I
a
really do.
nasty job before you went home. You might take a shower just to get everything off you. But,
we will change the layout on this because we need to make
That's
it
gonna
a
close.
shower room so that,
Oh.
like I said, it's a single occupant. You come in and lock the door. 'Cause
Yeah.
You never, so regardless of whether you have any women or you don't right now, we're obligated to provide equal facilities
Sure.
in a building. So there'll be facilities for men's,
Yeah.
women's bathrooms.
Mhm.
Sometimes we've even done single occupant, but I think in this case, we had a long conversation, this works just fine. Great question. Thank you. Hopefully you'll see a building up there
Yeah.
sometime. It'll take, if we get started,
It's very simple, like you said. In between bays, we'll have airlines, outlets. The wash bay will have a catch basin in it.
yes, which
But-
is right here. This wall right here is a separation. It's this will be the wash bay right here.
And then there'll be a curtain, right?
Yes,
That'll be a curtain,
yes.
so you can
across here.
contain.
Anecdotally, we used to do, you go into buildings, you see the floor drains, the strip drains that go across. We still will have those on on the exterior doors, and then they'll get picked up and taken over through the oil water separator. But what we found in the wash bay, actually it was the Public Works Director in Westbrook that came up with this idea. It's worked great, we've used it elsewhere. We don't put in the strip drain anymore because nobody likes to clean those out. Those, you gotta pull the grate out, they're really difficult to clean out. So we put in basically an oversized catch basin drain that had a deeper sump in it. So you can go up with a vac truck and just suck it out and clean it out that way and head out. And everybody's been happier with that than those
That's
stupid
probably
trench.
not a dirtier job than to try to clean them catch basins.
Yeah.
Drains in those two garages.
So I wish I could tell you I'm the one that thought about that. It wasn't, it was the Public Works Director in Westbrook. But I think good ideas from whoever gives them. I'm not bashful about that.
Modine heaters will be in the corners.
Yeah. Yeah, the inside the work bay, it'll be wall-mounted gas. That's why we have the propane tanks. That's the least cost way to do it. Radiant floor heat would be nice, but we just don't have the money for it to do that. So we'll put the other ones up.
Miles of pipe.
What's that?
Think of the miles of pipe.
Yeah, oh, it adds up. And then I have to do special insulation in the bottom of it.
It's a lot.
It's great. I mean, I won't kid you. It's not, people generally like it because it melts underneath, but
Sure.
it comes at a premium, and we're already pretty pricey. These buildings have crept up in cost over the years. I mean, I just budgeted one out working in Raymond, and they want radiant floor heat and stuff, and we're up. Well, we've got a committee that's getting started, but probably all in, probably, and they want a crane. We're up around $5-6 million on those buildings. It starts to add.
Sure.
It built, and through COVID, the steel prices jumped like 40%, and everything just, and the mechanical and the electrical now, it just scares me when I see how much the tin knockers get for,
Sure.
mechanical and electrical work in it. So we're trying to keep it basic. I think there's, what, 2.6 million or something like that in it. So sounds like a lot, but it goes fast.
Sure, yeah.
That's the project. If all goes well, we'll come back maybe in May, I guess. When's the next, when do I need to have
It'll be the
plans?
16th, but, I mean, we're already booked that, so you're looking at the first meeting in May.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the first meeting in May is
Yeah.
fine, yeah. Because we can keep going on the rest of our documents we have to put together to put it out to bid. But thank you for allowing us to share it with you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great information. Appreciate it.
Geez, I didn't even take up the whole evening on that.
Now the board's purview is to accept the preliminary plan if
Oh,
you're so kind.
Oh, okay. Do I have a motion?
A motion to accept the
Preliminary.
preliminary plan?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Jesus, does this mean it's a short meeting?
We'll see. Mike likes to spring stuff on us in the last things.
There's plenty of stuff coming, so I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna be busy in the next couple months, for sure.
So when do I need to have stuff back full size this time?
You would need to have it back to me.
No more good old boy trips, okay?
What's that?
No more good old boy trips. We need full-size prints.
I know, I got that.
No, I'm teasing.
It would-
I won't mess with that.
I mean, if you could have it back to me by the 16th, because then I can get it back to them ahead of that May 7th meeting, but the 23rd.
Okay. So you're writing that down, Lauren, for me, right? She's been helping me with the project. She's from, I didn't introduce Laura. Laura is one of our young engineers that joined us, and Laura has been helping me on the design plans. And I think she has some sickness in the family, so she didn't want to share. So,
Oh,
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah.
that, thank you.
so, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll see what SW Cole does for
Yeah,
next piece.
we'll be in touch.
See, you got a full size.
That's because I complain.
Do we want to do a public hearing at the same time?
As well, right? That works. When was that, May?
Seven.
May 7th.
Let's string this out any longer than we need to, there's a whole bunch coming.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just like saying that, don't you?
Well, there were 2 or 3 applications in today?
Yes, we heard.
Today, so.
For subdivision?
200 Main Street,
Oh,
and then Waterboro Crossing came in today as well.
The stores.
No storage. Amendment.
Amendment, sorry.
Tractor Supply.
We can only hope.
Hope it's over. Let's get it done.
all right, next on the agenda, we have minutes of previous meetings. So we have the minutes from February 5th meeting. Did anybody have any questions, changes?
Good to best of my knowledge. I can't remember everything we talked about.
Okay, and then the next one was March 19th minutes. I didn't have any questions, but I don't know if anybody else.
No, I didn't. All good.
So can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for?
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
approve the meeting minutes for February 5th and March 19th, 2025.
Perfect.
I will second that.
All right, all those in favor? All right, so next is communication.
No actual communication, but as you can see in front of you, as Mike said, 200 Main Street has come with their next set of plans, as well as Waterboro Crossing for a site plan review amendment, for their originally approved plan, so those will be on the agenda for the 16th.
I will not be here on the 16th.
Who's gonna run the show?
But does that pose a problem? She's gonna have to recuse herself.
Yeah, what do you think?
Then we don't have a quorum. We won't
Right.
be able to,
So,
unless you, Dennis, when is your next, you guys are the 15th, right?
Yeah, and we're interviewing for a potential planning board now.
Yeah. Not sure what everybody's feeling is. I mean, April gives us an extra 2 Wednesdays. That gives us the 23rd and the 30th.
Yeah, I'm good except for the 16th, so whatever.
Move it to the 23rd?
That's fine with me.
I'm good with that.
I'm good too.
It'll be 2 weeks from today. No, 3 weeks from today.
Mhm.
So next is miscellaneous.
nothing today.
Anybody? All right, that just leaves adjournment, so I can get a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn?
I second that.
All those in favor? All right, thank you, everybody.